Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Leadership Trail Mix. Today's reflection is again a combination of a lot of things, old and new, that I've seen, heard, and read, and hopefully will resonate with you. It all started with a DVD. You know, that shiny, flat, round thing with a hole in the middle that we use to watch movies from? Yes, one of those. The title of this one was Celebrate What is Right with the World, and it brought a powerful message from Dewitt Jones, who for decades worked as a photographer for National Geographic. In a nutshell, his message is about acknowledging that there is a lot more right with the world than there is wrong with it. But our vision controls our perception, and our perception becomes reality. And while it's easy to buy into focusing on what is wrong, we have a choice to change our lenses and choose possibilities instead of fear. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you won't, but even though Dewitt said these things almost 25 years ago, they feel like things we need to remind ourselves about today, and that's why I'm mentioning them here. Dewitt's ideas make me think of the Cherokee story of the two wolves. Have you heard it before? It says that there was a boy who came to his grandfather feeling very angry because of something that happened to him. His grandfather then told him that he empathized and felt the same way sometimes. He went on to say, "It is because I have two wolves inside of me. A good and harmonious one who does no harm and does not take offense when no offense is intended, and who only fights when it's right to do so and in the right way. But then there is this other wolf, full of anger. He fights everyone all the time for no reason. His anger is helpless, since we'll change nothing. Both wolves try to dominate me." The boy listened to his grandfather and asked, "Which wolf will win?" To which the grandfather answered, "The one I feed." All of that reminds me of the concept that gives a title to today's reflection, gradually and suddenly. I did not come up with it. It comes from Ernest Hemingway's novel from 1926 called The Sun Also Rises. In the book, the character Mike is asked, "How did you go bankrupt?" And his answer is, two ways, gradually and then suddenly. Don't ask me why, but whenever I think of celebrating what is right with the world, I then think about gradually and suddenly. Well, I guess it's because I see the former as a mindset, and I believe the mindset, as habits, change that way, gradually and then suddenly. Let's look at driving, for example. I don't know exactly how I became a good driver. Well, I think I am a good driver, but maybe I shouldn't be the one judging, right? Anyway, assuming that I'm a good driver, I cannot tell you when that happened. I know that for a long time, I had to pay attention to a lot of small actions that compose the act of driving. And then, suddenly, I was not paying attention anymore. But I know that the process was gradual. It happened gradually and then suddenly. At this point, you might be thinking, what the heck does this have to do with leadership, Miguel? Well, it has a lot to do with leadership. But I want to start by talking about what it has to do with us as individuals. To do so, I want to recommend you a movie that I had the honor to watch this past weekend during the Denver Film Festival. The name of the movie is Hard Truths, in which Marianne Jean-Baptist plays Pansy, a woman racked by fear, tormented by afflictions, and prone to raging tirades against her husband, son, and anyone who looks her way. The movie exhibition was followed by an interview with Marianne, who told us about how hard it was for her to get rid of Pansy, of that character, once the shooting was over. I'm not surprised. Pansy is a strong character, and while I watched the movie and afterwards, I kept thinking about two questions. The first one was, what did the world do to Pansy for her to be that way? The second one, what did Pansy do to what the world did to her for her to be that way? You see the difference? Fear and rage are in everything Pansy does and say, but I couldn't stop thinking, how did she get there? It wasn't suddenly. It cannot have been. It was the accumulation of things, of moments where fear and rage protected her very existence that then became who she is today. And it's sad to see the toll it takes on her health, physically and mentally. Is any of this sounding familiar? Are there things that you've been handling, managing, or just surviving to that are gradually becoming part of who you are? Is bitterness, resentment, anger becoming your brand and therefore stamping everything you do, say, and produce? What wolf are you feeding and how regularly? Can you measure how close you are to suddenly? Whoever we are as individuals will, in one way or another, be seen on who we are as leaders. We sometimes try to fool ourselves into thinking we can separate things, but we cannot. Whatever we are doing to what the world has done to us is permeating every aspect of ourselves. And here, I want us to look at the other side of the coin. How to address it, how to change, how to let go of these things that cause us harm and also harm those around us. Well, gradually and then suddenly. And here I want to add the concept of compound, which I recently got remembered about by Roberto Ferraro in a LinkedIn post. Roberto says, and here I quote, "Once upon a time, in a small town called Ambalapuzha in southern India, the king of this town loved playing chess. One day, a wise man came and played chess with the king. The wise man asked for a special prize if he won. Just 1 grain of rice for the first square of the chessboard, and then double that for each next square. The king thought this was a minimal prize and said yes. The sage won the game, and the king prepared to give him his prize. But as he started putting rice on the board, he realized it was much more than he thought. By the 12th square, he needed 2,048 grains, which kept growing. On the last square, he would need a huge number of grains, way more than all the rice in the world. Then, the wise man revealed he was the god Krishna and told the king he could serve at the temple until the debt was paid." The moral of the story? Small things can add up over time to something big and transformative. James Clear reminds us that if we improve 1% each day, we will be 37 times better off by the end of the year. End quote. Our call to action is, as we approach the end of the year and choose to see in the new year an opportunity to start again, what is the one thing we can work on systematically to become better people and as a result, better people leaders? What is the thing that we'll focus on getting 1% better each day? It may be kindness, recognition, courage, boundaries. Whatever it is, let's be systematic about it. Leverage the coming weeks to build a plan before you start executing. A good way to stick to it is to add it to your calendar as an event, put a note on your monitor, or a reminder on your phone. Whatever you choose, make it a daily exercise. If 1% better a day sounds like too much, try 0.5, 0.25%. Maybe focus on weekly increments. What really matters here is to start and be consistent. Like for other things in life, identifying an accountability partner can help. So for my commitment, I'm choosing you. Yeah, you. For 2025, I want to do better at setting boundaries to technology and not spending time on my phone first thing in the morning. I want to start on January 1st, waiting 5 minutes, focusing on reflecting and connecting with myself before checking emails, messages, and etc. I'll add 1 minute per week, which at the end of the year should represent almost 1 hour, which will probably mean having to wake up earlier, will probably also help me build a more consistent workout routine, become healthier and better balanced to go about my day and lead my team. Every now and then, I'll update you on my progress on an episode. And if I don't, feel free to reach out to me and ask. If you don't have an accountability partner, I'm here for you. Just send me an email, miguel@leadershiptrailmix.com. That's all. If you want to support this podcast, the best way to do so is recommending it to a friend. Thank you for listening. Take care and talk soon.